Good day, everyone. I am Manoj Kumar, leading Developer Relations and Office of Open Source at Lambda Test. I'm going to be the host for this talk. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce our esteemed keynote speaker today, Pradeep Soundarajan. How are you, Pradeep?
I'm doing brilliant and consistent. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you. So Pradeep is going to talk to us about the lambdas in testing and where they should head in 2025. I would rather say a vision rather than a talk because it's all about how testing will be in 2025. As far as the context goes, lambda literally meaning wavelength. In testing terms, it means for quicker releases, we need to have shorter feedback loops. Over the past decade, these loops have dramatically shortened, enabling high frequency releases from a month to once a month to once a day, and then multiple times a day. Our speaker, Pradeep Soundarajan, is the founder and CEO of Moolya. He has donned many hats, been a tester, consultant, test tool developer. I heard, his favorite language is Perl. Not sure if it's still the case. He's been a test coach, test management consultant, and now serving as a chief servant for employees and clients of Moolya and Bugasura. He is also the author of 2 books in testing, Buddha in Testing. Go check it out in Amazon, and his own website. It's available for you to purchase one. And the second one is growth driven testing, which is due to be released in August 2023. So today Pradeep will share with us how testing software is going to be evolved over the coming years. Before I hand over to Pradeep, a suggestion to all our attendees to get well acquainted with the 𝐴𝐴 platform. You all have been doing the emojis in the opening note. I've seen that, which is already great. So I would recommend you doing the same. Show your love for the topic by using emojis, which you can find down below the screen. And now please join me in welcoming Pradeep Soundarajan. Stage is yours.
Thank you very much. And I'm really excited. I hope you're all doing really very well. Being a virtual conference and having so many people and not being able to see them hurts the speaker the most. But I'm trying to do my best. I'm standing and presenting this over to you and assuming that you all are sitting here and enjoying this conversation, this talk, the whole conference. And thanks a lot to the team at Lambda Test for putting this awesome thing up and getting all of us together and getting some great speakers and a pretty good relevant audience who are going to change the way the industry is going to test in the future. So without further ado, I'm gonna share my screen, and here we go. Hold on. And where did that go? Now, am I sharing the screen right now? And yes, here it appears. Here it comes. Awesome. I have another computer on the side to see if I'm sharing the screen, and yes, okay, here we are. I can also see the chat on the side. So welcome to this talk. I've had sufficient introduction, so let me start with this question. This is a question very, very few people might have asked to you. What's the occupational hazard for people in the role of testing? Go to the chat and answer these. Okay, answer this. What do you think is the occupational hazard for people in test? I want to read some answers and see what are they saying. There is some distortion with the audio. Well, okay, so there are some responses coming in. Complacency, is that an occupational hazard? And stress. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, stress. I think stress is a part of everyone's occupational hazard, today. Sleep, being taken for granted, pressure and time management, number of flows, proper guidance. Oh my goodness, this chat is just blowing up with the occupational hazards that every different people think. Some people say screen time, and then there is burnout and all sorts of answers actually coming in. a misconception of a tester role. Wow, we have gotten stuck with fire, with a lot of people coming up with different answers that seems to be affecting them a lot. Now here I am to help you with my answer, and my answer is this. The answer is that the people, the occupational hazard for people who test is that they test. When we use it in our occupation, that becomes a profession. But all of us who have used it outside of it, it has become a hazard. And the reason why I'm saying this is this, right? The ability of testers to adopt new tools and technology is becoming a huge challenge. Now, I'm making some claims, but I have a lot of things to back it up with. Now, the reason why I shared that is that you're here in a testing conference, and the testing conference is at the periphery of your occupation and you being outside. So you might be outside of your work, but you're not completely outside of your occupation because this is a testing conference. Now you are going to bring in all of your critical thinking skills. You're going to question, you're going to challenge, you're going to think about, oh, why is Pradeep saying all of this? It's all a part of your occupation. Fantastic if you use it in the work, but outside of it, you have to, if you overdo it, then it impairs your ability to learn certain things. So I am being cognizant of the fact that you're going to bring all of that stuff, which I like it. I'm going to be cognizant of the fact that you're going to be in the mind saying, why is Pradeep saying this? Why is he saying this? I love that. I want you to hold that thought. It's okay, because here we are at the testing conference where you're allowed to be a tester, but also actively learn new things. Now, here is it, right? Everyone tests. Everyone tests. Okay, do you agree to that? Everyone tests. But I am not talking about everyone who is a human who does some kind of testing of different kinds of things. I'm talking about these people. These people do testing. Now, okay, a bunch of people who have a title called test or QA or SDET or whatever your title is, they think that it's they who are completely responsible for testing, or it's they who do the testing. And I want to tell you that these people also do test. For instance, the CEO of any company is constantly testing a new pitch to investors and customers. Go and talk to Asad, who is the CEO of Lambda Test, and he'll tell you that he's constantly on a daily basis pitching Lambda Test to people, to investors, to customers, to potential candidates, to all of them. So I think that CEOs, including me, are constantly testing a new pitch, and here is my new pitch. I'm testing it against you, right? So we are constantly testing. The CMOs, the marketing heads, are constantly testing a new ad campaign with customers, with potential customers, to see if that's working out, what kind of response they're getting, what kind of conversions they're getting. So they are also testing. The CTOs are testing the architecture, the tech stack that they envisioned that is going to scale up against a massive customer usage that's coming in, and constantly looking at should we do re-architecture, or should we continue with the existing architecture, the cost of building a new the cost of re-architecting versus the cost of continuing with the new architecture. And I've seen CDOs take a very conscious call about this if they have to do a re-architecture, because it changes a whole lot of stuff, right? The CPOs are testing the hypothesis about that they have, that this is what the customer wants to use, this is what the customer wants to pay for, and so they are also testing. The COO is testing the efficiency of the org to deliver value. The CDO is doing that. The CIO is doing that. So all the CXOs are in the business of testing. Everyone in the business is in the business of testing. This is what I have discovered playing different roles, that everyone is testing something for the customer to be able to make decisions for the customer. But why? Why is everyone doing some or the other test? Why can't they just say, oh, here we have a testing team, and I want just the testing team to test all of this out and give me feedback? I'm sure testers are not going to say, I don't know, right? They're going to say, oh yeah, let me give it a try. And so they can do what the CMO wants, they can do what the CPO wants, they can do what everybody wants. And in some organizations, this actually happens. But why is it that all these CXOs of whatever size of company that we're talking about, why are they all in the business of testing? Why is everyone in the business of testing? Okay, what's your answer for that? Why is everyone in the business of testing? Everyone is in the business of testing because testing is a proven way to learn something. Testing is a proven way to learn something, and this is evolved even before software testing came into picture. And people have constantly been looking at testing as a way to learn something. Why do these people want to learn? Why are they so passionate about learning? They're so passionate about learning because learning is what leads to action. If they don't actively learn, then the kind of decisions that they would be making are not going to be useful decisions for the customer, for them to grow. So that's the reason why they are constantly doing. Now, smart learners are people who will learn to go from a point A to point B. Now, right? Now they go faster compared to what? Faster compared to the majority of the world. But however, now we all think that it's a straight line. No, I don't think all of us think, but some of us think that the more smarter you are, the more flatter the line gets and the more straight the line gets. No, it's not true. It's never a straight line. At best, something looks like this. At best, something looks like this. Even if you have the smartest of the people, on a planet on your project, it's going to look like this, right? And why does it look like this? It's because those who are constantly iterating, because point A to point B, represented in a 2-dimension, it looks like this. It looks pretty much predictable. It looks like somebody can just draw a line. But in reality, when we are chasing a goal for a customer, we know the point A, but we don't know the point B, and we're constantly trying to scout for point B and what's the fastest way to get there. So this can only happen if we iterate faster, and shorten the time period, right? Because if by the time you figure things out, the market would have changed, the market would have moved, your competitor would have taken over the customer. So that's the reason why people want to go from point A to point B in the fastest possible way. And the only option that they have is about is to iterate and learn if they're going in the right way. And the only way to iterate, and one of the ways to iterate rather, is to test. So constantly people are trying to test fast, to be able to learn of, can I go from point A to point B? Can I make a release? Can I ship this product? Can I ship this? So for that, what people have done, people have smartly figured out that they need to iterate, they need to test faster. And we have reached a point where we have hit a certain speed. So
it's 8 o'clock.
Here I have a question for you. There's going to be a poll for you right now. Is speed everything in testing? Okay, what do you think? Is speed everything in testing? There's a poll right on the screen for you to answer. What do you think about it? Is speed everything? Let's take a look at some of the responses actually coming in. Is speed everything? The reason why I'm asking this question to you is that if you look at the questions that are asked about testing, this is the one major question. that is constantly asked by stakeholders. They're always about how can we do faster testing? 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 Right? So essentially, so if you look at it, okay, this is now from the perspective of speed is what everyone talks about, even including the testers. Forget other stakeholders, including the testers. Everyone is talking about how do I do faster? How do I do faster? How do I do faster? That's the reason why I put up this poll. Can we see the poll results in any way, Manoj? Okay, can we see the poll results in any which way of what people have answered so far? How many people have said yes? How many people have said no? Okay, to the question of speed. Some people are responding on the chat. So if there's a way to know the poll results, I want to be able to see how many people have said yes and how many people the creator is yet to share the results. So I'm waiting for the results to come in to see what these 1,000+ people, 1,000+ passionate folks on testing who are tuned in at different time zones are talking about speed of testing. Okay, let's try to look at it. A lot of people saying no, some of people saying yes, and all of those aspects of it. So while the results coming, okay, Manoj, can you help me? Okay, move on to the next one. Yes. So while the poll results coming, I want to tell you that speed in a wrong direction is a disaster. How many of you have seen this happen in your project, right? Point A to point B, people go and here's what happens, right? If they are not clear about how to go to point B, but they are like doing faster and faster testing, speed in the wrong direction certainly leads to a disaster. I've seen a couple of projects that has gone super fast and have busted, right? The only reason was that they went too fast in a wrong direction. And I have something exciting, okay, coming up for you. Here is your meme of the day. The meme of the day is that some of the front-end automation project demos that I've seen, what happens is that people show that they've moved from point A to point B. 4 weeks later, the tests are not passing and a bunch of things are failing. There is a lot of maintenance that's kicking in. So I would say that this is the meme of the day for me. Well, hold on. Right? So this is the meme of the day. And how many of you experienced this? How many of you have seen this across project? This is probably because either they're doing tests they're not supposed to do on front end, or they're doing, or the testability is not built in place, and they wanted to show magic. So front end automation looks like animation. Everybody loves it, but I think we have to keep the animation business very limited in our industry. So now, for me, what I think is that faster works only after solving what to test. Faster works only after solving what to test. If you don't know what to test, you could be testing a whole lot of things in a wrong direction. So I want to just go back to these folks, these nice folks. They make all the decisions. We don't make any decisions. We make some decisions, but who makes the final? Where does the buck stop to make a decision for the customer? It lies with some of these people. So each one of them have their own what to test for, right? Now, I think that today in 2023, QA and SDETs largely cater to what to test and how to test and when to test for the CTO requirements. Now, it's not just about architecture. It's about the code. It's largely in many organizations today, QA and SDETs are reporting to someone who is an engineering manager, who is someone a VP engineering, and stuff like that, which essentially means it reports into the CTO. So today, CTOs have taken it upon them to say, I'm going to make QA testing faster, better, and all of that stuff, right? So this is how largely we've been catering to, okay, as of today. But let's address the gorilla in the slides. Have you been noticing that there is a gorilla in the slide? I don't know how many of you noticed it. There's been a gorilla in the slide, and this also brings us to the point of inattentional blindness. There has been a gorilla. No matter how much critical thinking you are, critical thinker you are, there's been a gorilla. When you go back to the slides, you'll notice that. I spoke to several CTOs. And one of them, and a couple of them actually shared this, saying that if my developers had the culture of writing unit tests, we won't need so many QA engineers, which is so true, which is absolutely true. Show me a company, show me a product that has plenty of regression issues. I will show you lack of unit tests. And so after having discovered very late in my career, I'm not as smart, after having discovered very late in my career that my job exists because somebody is not doing unit tests, I was terribly disappointed. I didn't want to find those bugs that I've been finding for a long time. So essentially, what's really important here is that the right amount of unit testing that needs to happen is not happening because we are constantly creating developers across the world who want to be working in feature factories. You know what feature factories are? People want to keep pushing features out. People want to keep pushing features out. This leads to a lot of entropy and jobs. So, to me, entropy in testing has created more jobs in testing than any entrepreneur has ever done. Be it Steve Jobs, be it Elon Musk, be it whoever. I can tell you that when I see a lot of QA as their jobs around, I see a lot of entropy as well. And we keep talking about shift left. We keep talking about shift left without people wanting to write unit tests. Without people wanting to change the culture of engineering practices. They want the testing to shift left, but not the culture to shift left. And I think that's the reason why we see a lot of jobs being created around here. Good for us, good for some of us, good for our community. Look, we have 1,000+ people over here. Otherwise, if there was unit testing done across the world in a very good religious way and integration tests were built and all of that stuff, we probably would have had a few hundred people today. But today the world is populated with millions of testers, thanks to the entropy that's out there. Now, the good news that's happened is that previously, when I started my career as a tester, I was seeing that the product team, the product owners, the BAs were very interested in testing, and I was reporting to a product owner. I was not reporting to the CTO. But over a period of time, CTOs took over, and they started making testing into a very programmatic way of doing things. Okay, initially I was like, oh my God, this is not the way, and all of that stuff. I know many people today, even today in the industry, carry that sentiment, but I'm telling you, it's a good thing to happen. And I'm telling you why it's a good thing to happen. It's a good thing to have happened that the CTOs took over and said, I want faster feedback about the code that I'm pushing. So the moment one of my developer, merges the code or puts the code out, I want instant feedback to come for the developer, for the team, of saying, are we breaking something that's working? Are we breaking something new? And all of that stuff. So I love what CTOs have done to our industry. They have taken testing, which was previously with the product owners, and they have programified it. And that's one of the reasons why today a lot of testers are programmers, which is good, which is pretty good, right? So essentially what CTOs did is that they shortened the lambda, which was the wavelength, which was the larger the wavelength, the slower the feedback cycle was, and the longer the feedback cycle was. And this didn't just happen with the CTOs, right? we were doing waterfall. We moved to a sprint-based approach and all of that stuff. So the whole industry over the last decade has tried to make testing into a faster feedback cycle loop. And thanks to the CTOs coming in, they have absolutely done a great job to get us there. Now, when the industry was moving, what happened is that the entrepreneurs in this space love the larger, piece problems. So if you see the last 10 years, I would say, there has been an absolute fabulous innovation around automation. Today, whatever you talk about, there are so many plethora of tools. There's so much of efficiency that's there. There's so much of speed that's there. Like if you look at this, right? There is supersonic, there is hypersonic. Now, some company like Lambda Test is saying we have hypertest, which is like, faster than super, right? So if you look at it today, be it infrastructure, be it about installation, be it about every damn thing, be it about even learning how to automate, there's been some fabulous base that's set. So that is super. That is super over the last decade. Today you're spoiled by choices. If you talk about low-code tools, you have about 20 of them. If you talk about no-code tools, you have about 25 of them. If you talk about frameworks, you have different frameworks. If you talk about different frameworks for different stacks, you have plenty of them. We're spoiled by choices today. That's how much innovation has happened. And thanks to the CTOs and the entrepreneurs participating together, today we're not like struggling, oh, what do I do? And all of that stuff. Even for corner cases like the Unity games, we have automation, solutions. We have solutions for SAP, we have solutions for Salesforce. Talk about anything. There are at least 20-25 companies out there. It's become a very, very, very crowded market right now. Now, I think we have hit the efficiency peak. We can't do any more innovation. We can't do anything more when it comes to improving the efficiency of testing driven by code. What do you think? I want to run another poll and see. Of what do you think? Do you think that we have hit the efficiency peak? Are you convinced that we have hit the efficiency peak? You have just a minute. Now, if you were in front of me, I would have asked to raise hands, and you would have known how many people are raising hands. But since this is virtual, you have to live with the poll. Even I have to live with the poll. I'm really sorry I couldn't see you today, but I look forward to that. So, are you convinced that we have hit the efficiency peak? Efficiency peak. I can predict your answer, right? I can predict your answer. Most of you, let's see what people are going to say for this. Awesome. Inefficiency peak is what we are in. I'm going to talk about that. And what's it, Manoj? Manoj, can you end this poll right now and show the results, please? Can you end
Yes,
this?
Pradeep.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. Now, I know most of you want to say or have been saying, no, we have more room for improvement. We absolutely have more room for improvement. And so let's see the poll results.
You are right, Pradeep. We have around 350 plus people voting it, and most of 61% of them have said no.
Great. So majority of the people saying, no, we have not hit the efficiency peak. We can do a lot more. I'm asking you this question. People are releasing, people have come to the point of making hourly builds, hourly tests. What more you want? You want minute by minute builds? You want second by second builds? What are you in Formula One, or are you in product building? What are you in? right? I think that we have hit the efficiency peak. Now, some of your organizations may not be following it, but I think overall, theoretically, we have hit the efficiency peak of the frequency at which we can test, because there is a plethora of technologies and tools and processes and everything available. Now, and this is how I'm going to prove to you. This is exactly how I'm going to prove to you. This image that you're seeing is Mount Everest in 2022. Mount Everest in 2022. In 2000, 144 people climbed Mount Everest. In 2022, there is a 2-hour queue to reach the peak after people have climbed so close. 2 hours of waiting time. Even in one of the famous temples, like Tirupati, it's 1 hour these days. And here to the peak, to the Mount Everest, people are saying there's a 2 hour. 143 people you see just in this photo. Why do you think people are able to do this right now? Okay, why do you think people are able to do this? It's because the availability of technology. It's because people are catching up to it. It is that in 2000, the number of choppers available for rescue mission was low. The number of people wanting to go for low. The number of Sherpas were low. So today we have the Sherpas. We have the equipment. We have the training. We have the time. We have the economic situation. Every aspect of it has become available. So in a matter of time, people are catching up, okay, to it. So while this photo was taken, so many of them would have been on a train, so many of them would have been on a plane on the journey to reach towards the base camp so that they can start climbing. And you know what? Achieving 100% automation is not as difficult as climbing the Mount Everest, right? So if so many people can climb the Mount Everest, I can't. I strongly believe that we've already cracked the efficiency. There are a lot of companies who are lagging behind, but they're going to catch up in a few years, and it's just a matter of time for most of these folks to be able to adopt these latest technologies and tools and training access and all of that stuff. So that's the reason why I think so. Now, here's another thing, right? Here's another thing. Stack Overflow stopped overflowing after ChatGPT got released. Why? Because, okay, with ChatGPT, we have hit an efficiency peak. We've hit an efficiency peak that, a lot of people's lives have become a lot easier. Like just before this talk, I thought I'll just go search for some automation scripts and all of that stuff, and it's available. Of course, there could be some bugs in it, there could be some mistakes in it, but hey, how much more easy do you want your life to become today? It's already become this easy that people are getting 20% of their work done with ChatGPT. You want more efficient than this? It's like, I don't want to even touch the computer. I want everything to happen and just the salary to be credited. Is that the efficiency that you're looking for? That's just not going to happen, right? So now I think when welcome AI to my talk. I was thinking that if I didn't use the word AI, I'll sound a little outdated. So, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, Gen AI is absolutely amazing. Gen AI has great use cases, but I think Gen AI in testing has one problem. I mean, one of the many problems, but one problem. And I want to know from the chat, what do you think is the problem? What do you think is the problem that Gen AI has in testing? What do you think is the problem? Gen AI in testing. Okay, so let's look at maintainability. And people talking human factors. Yes, no foundational knowledge. It's artificial, misses context, no creative testing. So a bunch of answers coming in, right? You want to know what my answer is? You want to know what my answer is? Okay, my answer is this. We have absolutely, in the past, created garbage training data without realizing what AI can do in the future. right? What can your organization actually feed as a training material if you were building your own LLMs and you were integrating with whatever open AI that you have? Pass fail metrics. Many organizations today, be it automation or exploratory or whatever, right? People are still looking at testing with pass fail metrics. If you feed in pass fail metrics to it, what intelligent expectation do you have from AI? So I think that we who could have generated a lot of interesting kind of data, we most of the world has a very poor set of data that can be fed into this AI. So what do you do with it? It's like pouring kerosene into a fifth gen fighter jet. It's not going to move. It's going to smoke. And essentially, that's what I think. That I feel really sad that we don't have beautiful possibilities of data that can be fed in. And typically how today people are thinking about AI, right? They're thinking, oh, can it heal my script? Well, your script, instead of thinking about can it heal my script, why don't people ask a question? Is this script still useful? Should I retire this what's a test? People are seldom thinking like that. So to me, that if you feed in garbage, you're gonna get garbage, right? Now, I'm making a suggestion for you. I want you all to go, right, not exactly right now, go check out Product Hunt. There are plenty of great tools that are actually coming in for developers. And I want you to compare how many developer tools versus how many tester tools are actually coming out in Product Hunt. And that's when you will know how much of innovation and how much of improvement development is going to get versus what say testing is going to get. And I think this is also a good opportunity. Now, I want to remind you again that we are solving problems for these folks, right? It's not for our own satisfaction. So where's the next Mount Everest? The next Mount Everest. And here comes the next Mount Everest, right? The next Mount Everest is about where does testing again report to. So initially when I said it's the CDO, but I think testing reports both to the CPO and the CDO. Both of them want some value out of testing, and largely it's to the CDO right now, but these two are the largest consumers of testing within an organization. And I am so happy that some of the CTOs today are being given additional responsibilities to be the CPTO. There's a new designation, new title that has come into this world called CPTO. I don't know how many of you know about it. It's the Chief Product and Technology Officer. I love this. This is good for us. CTOs will now codify testing to help their PO role. So CTOs are now going to wear two hats. They're going to wear the technologist hat and the product owner hat. And I think this is good news for absolutely all of us. This is absolute good news for us. Why? Because the product owner's focus is outside of the, so it's outside of the company. It's constantly connecting with customers, doing the demo and all of that stuff. Whereas the CTO's focus is deep internally, looking at the metrics, looking at the internal aspects of it, looking at Crashlytics and all of that stuff, right? So that's essentially how the CTO's focus goes. And I'm so happy that the way the world is moving, testing is now becoming a common thread for the CPTOs, where they so far have programmified and made absolutely testing highly efficient to the point that there cannot be significantly radically different improvement of efficiencies from the automation side of things. Of course, there can be new tools. Of course, there can be, so as I mentioned, right, we have reached the hypersonic stage, hyper test stage, and what more you want? Like so that is essentially where we are. So now I think these CPTOs are going to bring a new breed of technology, of tools and solutions for their product owner hat to solve some of these problems. So here is what the CPO of one of the unicorn told me, saying, hey, Pradeep, I looked into this bug report. It says, some of these, people have copy pasted expected API response to actual API response. I don't know what to do with it. I want to know what's the risk of this bug, to my customers. So I think that the learning cycles are very long for the CPOs right now, and CPOs will no longer struggle because the innovation landscape, the next frontier is in the different dimension of testing, which is where there's going to be a new set of innovation in this space. Now the CPOs have different kind of things of what to test for. They want to test their requirements, they want to test their hypothesis, they want to test their first time user experience, they want to test for impact, they want to test for churn, they want to test for utilization, all of these stuff. And we as testers, we have been kept in the dark largely because what we automate is functional tests so far, and that's where it got the gets the major focus. Now I think that when we are looking to solve real business problems, because the testing has reached its max efficiency when it comes to a programmatic way of what's it doing things, and we are in the new frontier of testing where testing is going to focus on these aspects of it. So my vision for 2025 is that using Gen AI, there are some good innovation happening. There are people trying this out. It's going to be a blend of AI plus human. The human is never going to be out of loop. But there's going to be different kinds of human in the loop. So for me this is the vision that I see, that when these CEOs and entrepreneurs get together, these CPTOs and entrepreneurs get together, they want to prevent bugs. They don't want to just find bugs, because they lose a lot of money if they find bug and fix bugs. So they are in the business of preventing bugs. So I'm looking at Gen AI, the generative AI, given requirement, highlighting past mistakes done with this kind of requirement, highlighting conflicting requirements, highlighting key focus areas to focus on, based on the USP, based on the sales pitch made to the customer, highlighting the top 3 possible P1 bugs to watch out for. Isn't this a new frontier? Because if you are going to speeden up your automation more, you've already reached that peak, or you are in the wait list. You saw that, I'd like to remind you of that Mount Everest thing, right? You're in the wait list. There's enough queue out there. You're just waiting for the right opportunity to get there. But I think the world has once figured that out. But this is the new frontier where AI does these things and human complements the AI, uses AI inputs, adds their own inputs, and prevent possible bugs in requirement itself. This is going to be the new frontier of the combination of AI and human working together to prevent bugs rather than find bugs because it's too late. And similarly, the next step that I'm looking at is that given the requirements, given the architecture, and given the dev nodes, the AI should be able to highlight I would say areas in the architecture that could be flaky, areas in the architecture which already had bugs, being able to draw a diagram. Today there are tools that once you plug in the SDK, it can draw a whole map of your code, and in the code it can start highlighting where are the possible areas that there is a risk for this bug, and then the human can use this, embrace it, use this, and prevent bugs at a dev nodes level rather than trying to wait for the coding to happen. This is at a good layer. Now, these humans need to be absolutely code savvy. They need to be as good as programmers to be able to use this kind of AI and bring value of prevention of bugs in this. Similarly, while there is coding happening, I want AI to build unit tests. Relying on human beings, I'm ready to retire, because if I want to rely on human beings to write unit tests, I wish it happens across the world, but it's just a wish list. But as a vision, I can have AI building unit tests. As people write code, there can be a repository of unit tests from which it learns from and builds unit tests. This can prevent a whole lot of programming bugs, okay, coming in and people finding obvious bugs at a later stage. I want this to happen. I absolutely want this to happen. And then the focus for the humans goes towards refactoring the code if the tests have failed, fixing bugs and retesting. So 98%, 99% of the bugs should be prevented or fixed by the time the coding is complete. This is when we are in the new frontier of software testing. Otherwise, I'm telling you this to you, we are in an efficiency trap. That's the reason when testing became an efficiency engine and people try to do more of this. This is why testing is always seen as a cost factor, and this is the reason why many companies have sold their tools as saying faster than humans, because because the whole world was chasing efficiency. Now it's not efficiency. Now it's much more than efficiency. It's value. It's prevention of bugs. It's basically putting in the quality. It's basically enabling passionate human beings to do what they really love to do. Right. And then, the next frontier is also about, you're bringing in the product owner value, so that, for a long time, there are people who have been talking, including me, we've been talking about analytics driven test automation. Most of the automation that we should be building is actually, there is a lot of intelligence sitting into product analytics. So I would love to see that happen. I would love to see AI building building tests based on analytics, based on usage, based on customer data. And we don't want the human in loop. And where do we want the human in loop? We want the human to merge what AI is giving, use the HI, which is the human intelligence, to form a hybrid script approach. Maybe there's a new thing that's going to come, hybrid framework, where AI and human co-develops a framework, right? That's going to be the new frontier. But the core idea is to be able to say, what's the difference between the test coverage we have done to the usage? If we had that dashboard, if we had that Tony Stark moment in our space of testing, our life would phenomenally change. So essentially, that's the way that I look at AI. And just for the sake of the joke, I was working hard on this presentation. I was really enjoying this presentation, and I just wanted to add a little bit of a joke to it, just for my own satisfaction. So I'm sorry, but I just added that when people who worked on a project for a while have not interacted with customers, have not understood users, they should just resign. So I think AI should suggest such people to resign, and I think that's another AI that I welcome in the future. So to me, okay, continuous testing. We all talk about continuous testing. We want to do continuous testing. So continuous testing is continuous feedback loops, and testing as a feedback loop should answer CPO's questions, CTO's questions, and the CEO's questions, and the CRO's questions. When testing can go beyond just what the CTO needs and can answer questions of let's say other decision makers, I think we would have expanded the meaning of testing itself. Otherwise, we are going to have a very narrow view of testing, and we are going to do everything in this limited view of testing. And that's the way that this limitation comes and hits us. And there is a very little innovation that happens, and any innovation that happens is only towards efficiency. And as I told you, we have hit the efficiency peak. So I want to also say that no gorillas were harmed in the making of this deck. I've used many gorillas in this presentation, but I didn't harm any of them. So thank you very much for listening to me so far. I hope you will all overcome the efficiency trap. You will start looking into 2025 as a new frontier of testing, as a way to expand the meaning of testing itself, as a way to help other stakeholders, as a way to use existing infrastructure. I would want you all to use all possible means that's already available in this world, hit that maximum efficiency, see the Mount Everest, and then say, what other peaks should I climb that I have not yet climbed? That is a most progressive question we as a community should be asking rather than anything else. So with that, thank you very much. if you're interested in such thoughts, such crazy thoughts, I read a blog, and then as Manoj mentioned, I wrote a book for testers to be peaceful. This is the first book which marries software testing and spirituality, and then this all these things that I'm talking about. I've also documented about it, where you can read further with examples on how to achieve it. And so that's the book that's going to come releasing next month. And I want to leave you with these most very important thoughts. The one mistake that I did, which I know many of you and many other people of the other generation are doing, is I was thinking I was trading my time for money. No, I was not trading my time for money. I was trading my health for money. So I don't want you to trade your health for money. Profession is an enabler of life, and I think if we don't see that, and if we see that as life is where people get into burnout and work-life balance issues and all of that stuff, living a holistic life is the purpose of your life. And ever since I started to do that, my life has transformed, and I've been able to help people both professionally and personally. And I welcome you, to continue to have these interactions with me. And I really appreciate, the time, the time that Lambda Test gave me to be able to address you all today. It's been wonderful preparing for this. I hope that through this talk, I know you might have had many disagreements with many things that I said, but that's exactly what I wanted. We cannot progress unless we have good debates. We expand our horizon of testing itself. Otherwise it starts to look very, very boring after a certain time. Thanks to Gen AI, it has made people question a lot of things, and I think it's a good excuse for all of us to start looking at testing more holistically than we have been doing. So thank you very much. I am. Okay. So thank you. Thanks, Manoj. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Pradeep. I can only say what a session to kick off the TestMu 2023 second edition. That was great. I think people loved your energy throughout. I could see even when you were sharing about the unit test. Someone commented saying, "Oh well, I'm testing a website full of regression bugs when I'm hearing to this," so which was quite a timely comment from that. And there's a lot more comments. I think you will eventually get a chance to take a look at it. I think we have a few minutes. We'll take one or two questions. That's fine by you, Pradeep?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
We'll take some questions.
All right. Let me pick the one. Here we go. From Siddhartha Basu. How do we find our North Star in enterprise product testing?
Oh, that's a great question. So if you look at enterprises, right, compared to startups, startups are trying to figure out where is the North Star in itself. But if you look at enterprises, they have what's figured out. They have a decent market share and all of that stuff. So what is the challenge they're trying to solve? They're in a situation where they've also reached a certain tipping point, and they've reached a peak, and then they're trying to see what is the new frontier for me to do. So when it comes to enterprise testing, we are looking at the North Star of how fast are we innovating, how open are we for innovation, because most of my personal experience when it comes to enterprise testing is that they're great at consistency. They value a whole lot of things, but when it comes to innovation, they have a very restrictive environment. So this is true for all enterprises, and that's the reason why most of the enterprises today have their own startup incubator, because they realize that building innovation internally is becoming a challenge. And I think if you are working in an enterprise, find your company's startup accelerator, and work with them if you want to, if you want to innovate. So that's the North Star, I would say.
Pretty good. Let me pick up the next one. How to learn a new tech faster.
How to learn a new tech faster.
Yeah.
So for me, I look at so I think a lot of people have not got the fundamental right. If they've not got the fundamental right, learning anything new becomes very difficult. So when the foundation is right, we start to look at any new technology which is following similar protocol layers, and we can split those protocol layers and understand any new technology. But if we've forgotten those base protocols, then it becomes difficult for us to learn. So I would say, if you're finding it difficult to learn a new technology, go back to the fundamentals, and everything else in life becomes easier.
Cool. I have a question, Pradeep. Like, if you look back a decade old, things were very different, much different than what we
Yeah.
have today. So, if we're someone who's starting very new into testing, given the advent of all those fancy tools we have right now to make it even more, things lazy for us, what would be some of your, advice and tips to get started into testing?
Yeah. So from a decade to now, there is a plenty of availability of resources, uh, to learn. Okay. The other important thing that has happened, Manoj, is that people like you and many others are more and more available to help people succeed. So if I were to go back 20 years ago, it was difficult to find somebody passionate to coach and mentor. But today, that's not the problem. So today, there is availability of resources, availability of good people to coach and mentor, and all that people need to do is to make use of this opportunity. And that's what I would say.
Okay, I wasn't expecting you would pull me into the answer, but yeah, thanks to my leadership for giving such a position to help community.
Absolutely.
With that, thank you so much, Pradeep. That was such an insightful session, setting the stage, bar very high for TestMu 2023, the second edition. Unlike anything more we could expect for. There were over 1,600 people online listening to
Wow.
this talk, and
Wow.
the comments are already out there, so you could take a look. And for everyone who's joined us, thank you so much. We have a range of talks from mobile automation to AI to data science. A lot of those talks coming in your way. I wish a very great day and happy learning to everyone.
Okay. Gratitude to you
Thank you.
all. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks for making me possible. Thank you. Bye.
See you all in next session. Bye.